Okay, going for a body weight session, mostly, if probably exclusively, because I haven't done that in a while. Like I said, feeling all tight and stiff and everything. So it's going to be 20 down burpees. So start with 20 burpees. Then I'm going to do probably 5 push-ups. That's 100 reps, not counting the ones we do with the burpees, which is 220. So it'd be 320 total push-ups. I know amateur hour, but you know, haven't done body weight training in a while. Don't want to go crazy with the push-ups. Anyway, 5 push-ups. Then I'm going to be doing mountain climbers. And I'll do the jumping lunges after the burpee. So it'll be burpee, jumping lunges, push-ups, mountain climber. I might, because there's some dumbbells here, I might throw in some curls. Maybe. That would be interesting, because it's lightweight. I think it's like 25 pounds is what they look like. Yeah, 25 pounds. So, no, 20 pounds actually. Just 20 pounds. So, 5 reps at the end, 5 or 6 reps. It's 100 plus reps of curls. I haven't done the burpees in a while, so. There's no timer. The timer is the 20 down burpee. As many rounds as you can without taking a rest. So, trying to stretch out a little bit. Most of the stiffness and pain is like right in around here. The hip, the inner hip and then groin. From what I've looked up, I might just have joint issues in the hip here. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's from the deadlift, because my deadlift, I mean, you see it's pretty vertical. Come down, up, and then I pull up to about here and then pull back and, you know, hinge. I really do think it's the squat. Squat just screws with me. Especially when I try to keep it high bar. Like it doesn't matter how I contort my hips and my legs, it just doesn't seem to work. A front squat though, I don't know what it is about the front squat, it just seems to not bother me. And same thing with the low bar squat. That bothers, like that'll put extra stress on the low back if I'm doing a lot of deadlifting. But that's about it. I never had this hip pain before. The last time I went on my barbell arc. Okay. You know, Iron Wolf, he smacks his hips or whatever and then gets into it, so. One. 2. 3. 4. You know, I'm slipping way too much on them damn socks. That's better. push-up off these things. How much pain do I want? That feels really light. I've gotten used to doing 115 on easy curl bar, so I guess that's not really gonna too much. I do like the curls though, because it helps with alleviate some forearm pain. So if you do a lot of pressing and shoulder or tricep work, or you do a lot of cleans, and I don't think it has to be a curl. You can probably do chin-ups. I don't do chin-ups and pull-ups because, first of all, 220 pounds at the moment. It's a little rough. Secondly, more so on pull-ups, but shoulder tends to kind of pop out, and that causes a shit ton of pain, as you can imagine. So I don't do that. Do those. All right, 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Got a face full of sun. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. I won't lie, those are easier at 188 pounds than they are at 220. But also, I'm still a little stiff. The other one is just 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Flip them over. Sort of decline push-up. That's where strength endurance comes into play. Honestly. Okay, yeah, so shoulders are still stiff from the bench work I did the other day. Hips still stiff. I think what I need to focus on is unilateral work for a week or so. Kind of open everything back up again, like I did with the snatches the other day. But like, even something like Dan John's armor builder with one kettlebell, that'd be useful. The gladiator complex with one bell, thrusters, more snatches obviously, and then just long cycle. The jumping lunges I used to do a ton of when I was younger, so I like putting those back in. Also used to do a ton of push-ups. Don't do so many of those anymore. Through the boxing, and then I did those insanity workouts, which were pretty sweet. Those would be harder for me today than they were back then, for sure. I was like barely 165 pounds back then. All right, 18. Man, that just feels really stiff. Like everything feels stiff. It's going up and down like that. I gotta work on that. So that's 50 burpees. My ankle's kind of tweaked too. I think that's from the incline treadmill sprints. I put the treadmill on 6 the other day, and I was just walking at like 4, but then the granite wall from Bull Thrower came on, and I was like, I gotta move quickly. So I cranked the speed up to 7, and then eventually I got it up to 8, and did, well, the 7 and the 7.5 I did sustained runs. So 4 minutes at 7, 3 minutes at 7.5, and the 8.2 is when I did like 20 and 30 second bouts of sprinting. So I know that's not a very high sprinting speed, but it was at a 6-degree incline or whatever. So that treadmill at the gym goes up to 12. So I was about half incline there. So not bad considering I haven't ran in a while, and I was trying to take it easy on my feet. Which, if you have foot problems, like the soles of your feet or the arches or whatever, going in an incline You can do this outside with regular hills. It reduces the impact for what I think is fairly obvious reasons. Forgot to do the curls there. Okay, so obviously I didn't stick with the 20 down format. Yeah, too tight. I want to loosen everything up. So this is not the best movement for that, honestly. Like I said, unilateral stuff is. One. Going wider actually helps. So I have a new idea here for the second half of this. Maybe don't jump out the window. Would be a good idea. Flip those around for a more decline oriented push-up. Back when I was boxing and doing insanity workouts in my free time, I worked up to 115 reps of decline push-up and 172 reps of straight push-ups. And there was a kid who got 202 fucking push-ups straight. And I was like, I'm probably never getting to that level of push-ups. Not at 165 pounds. This kid was like 140. But anyway, the 202 push-ups. That was crazy. What I was doing, diamond push-ups, foot elevated raised push-ups, decline push-ups, push-ups where people stood over you and pressed your back into the ground. Stupid push-up shit. honestly, I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. For one thing, when you do it like this, you're really emphasizing the impact that the constant level change has. Now we do the mountain climbers. Now if you're paying attention, that's 14 burpees, so and that's how you can work those into a ladder. Now, the reason most people think burpees are hard is because one, they're not really conditioned to move. They usually don't do a lot of cardio. And if they do cardio at all, it's usually just walking on a treadmill. Maybe they'll go and do some running or jogging, really. That is not sufficient cardio to do something that has multiple level changes and resistance built in. So the level change makes a big difference. And not just even the level change, not going from down to up and in the middle. Even like you've seen it when I do snatches or clean and jerk and then I switch to the other. That makes an impact too. Because your body gets into a rhythm and it adjusts for that particular activity that you're doing. So when you change that a few minutes in, after you've established a rhythm, your body's like, oh, what the shit? And then it works, you end up working harder to accommodate it. So that's why multi-exercise ladders are really effective conditioning tools. So something like this, where you take a burpee, which most people think is hard, and you split it up, yeah, it makes it more challenging. Even though I did fewer burpees than the first two sets, I did 15 instead of 20 and 19. That whole routine there was covered because I went from the burpee to the jumping lunge to the burpee to the push-up to the burpee to the mountain climber to the burpee to the curl. So that's a good way to do it. You can do that with your kettlebell training too, or your barbell training. Probably not with the barbell training. Barbells are for strength and explosiveness, max strength and explosiveness. Even like your pro bodybuilders use a lot of isolation work with machines. With that kind of stuff you can, but with just like big barbell compounds, do not apply this principle. You'll kill yourself. It's too much. I'm a firm believer that your barbell, your heavy compound lifts, should be in that 4 to 8 rep range with at least a minute and a half between each set. I don't really think there's any need to go higher reps. I have gone higher reps. I recorded a 20 set squat or 20 rep deadlift set for fuck's sake. And you know. Alright, so next ladder. I just don't recommend it for most people. One. 4. jumping, any type of jumping blows the lungs up, no matter how well conditioned you are. If you want to, you can keep the reps the same at 5. In fact, and you do have to stand up. Standing up, standing back up like that, he's finishing the rep on the burpee. I got the mountain climbers. Constant level change. And to finish now, 5 burpees. Okay, so 25 burpees. So I did a 50 with the first 3 rounds, 20, 19, 11. 15, second one, that was 75. Now I did 25, so that's 100 burpees. And then some extra shit. So my real problem with this type of training is that it's kind of boring and it takes a while. So I've been doing this for about 27 minutes. And that's what we got in there. So I do want to incorporate jumping lunges and push-ups more in more of my routines, but I don't know if body weight sessions on their own something I'm going to mess around with too much. I like to keep these for when I'm kind of injured, feeling banged up or really stiff, like I am now. Like even my left Achilles right in here kind of hurts. And the last time that started hurting me, which was 3 years ago, I ended up messing up my knee, the left knee there. And I have not felt that pain in a while. And until I started lifting again 4 weeks ago. And now that pain's coming back. The knee pain's coming back. And now I have this groin hip pain right in here and over on the left side as well, but more so on the right side. So honestly, oh, and the right knee hurts, but down in here, which is probably not anything serious, I don't think. I think all the serious shit with your knees, like the sides and the top, I don't think down here is that big of a deal. Like right in around here, I might be wrong, I'm probably wrong. But I think that could just be due to a lot of volume, like leg extensions I've never done before, and I've included those. So I think, despite looking more solid, more jacked, which I definitely do, I won't lie, like I did gain about 12 pounds. No, that was not all muscle. Half of that was probably water weight. And then maybe 2 pounds muscle, because I know that sounds insane. But if you think about it, it's not that insane, because I was lifting before pretty consistently for about a year, right? Then I stopped and my training went back to being cardio endurance based work with kettlebells. So to focus mostly on lifting weights and lifting heavy, somebody who used to lift or is brand new, the idea of gaining 2, maybe even 3 pounds of muscle in that time frame is not crazy, but definitely gained some fat for sure. The reason I think I gained muscle is because the shirts are just tighter. Like putting the shirts on, they're all tighter. So yeah, even like I'm looking here, you can see I got the stomach a little bit, you know, the flab, but then I still have some shape at the top. Broad shoulders. Mostly that shape is from the lats. I have fairly wide back, like a barbell row in 225 for reps, deadlifting over 300 pounds for reps, high-ish reps, you know, that adds size. And then obviously the legs, from doing the squats, I switched to high bar squat. I think my legs are bigger. But this extra strength, the exercise, it's not worth it. It's not worth being in pain. Like I'm considering steroids and peptides just to help with the injury. Like the pain is stupid. I don't like, it's not muscle soreness. There's a bit of muscle soreness in the quads from the sprints on the hill, you know, the incline treadmill. I don't mind that. I can adapt to muscle soreness. This is like tendon pain, joint pain, possibly bone pain. It's just ugh. It's not worth the trade-off. I don't care if I'm all that jacked. And then some of it too, past injuries, especially in the lower body, can be exaggerated by weight gain. So being 220 pounds for somebody who has injured their feet before, not good. I injured both feet, fractured both heels, and training for the freaking marathon after I injured my back 3.5 years ago with the kettlebells. So it's not worth it. I'm kind of done with it. So training like this might come back up once or twice a week. It's a little break. The kettlebells are going to be scheduled more effectively but longer. So probably snatch twice a week, clean and jerk twice a week. So one session would be just clean and jerk, the other session would be just jerk, and then probably throw in something like gladiator once a week to kind of break up the monotony, and then maybe one of these sessions. How do you make these sessions easier? You just be lighter, like blowing through 20 down burpees at 200 pounds even. I think I did one last year. I was about 200 pounds. I made it to 15 before I got bored and quit. Like, you know, it's a boring session. It is boring work. That's why I don't do a lot of burpees. Mostly I think they're boring. They're good for people who want to do more intense exercise without hurting themselves potentially. Because if you're, say, 240 pounds and you've never really trained before, or the extent of your training is walking on a treadmill, trying out burpees isn't a terrible idea. Like, you're probably not going to physically hurt yourself. You might do sets of 5 and be completely gassed, but it's a starting point. It's low impact is what I'm saying. It's low impact. It's probably the lowest impact, highest intensity movement you can get without the potential for real injury. Because like even those jumping lunges, that's very high impact. I would not have an unconditioned person do those. Very high impact for what it is. But it's fantastic conditioning work. Definitely need to incorporate those more. Any type of jumping will absolutely blow up your lungs. Those unilateral jumps, they're next level. So burpees good for people who are still fairly new. But if you're advanced, I don't think burpees should be that challenging. Even if you're like, I mean, unless you're like somebody who just focuses on being as strong as possible, then it'll be tough because you don't do any cardio. But if you're, if you train kettlebells regularly and you're not 200 plus pounds, burpees shouldn't be that challenging. So I like people like Dan John. Dan John has his humane burpee. It's just like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I haven't done burpees in over a year, or about a year. And I'm 20 pounds heavier than the last time I attempted them. And like, yeah, it was a little challenging, but I'm also kind of stiff and banged up a little bit. You saw those later sets were better. That first round of 20 was rough. I was creaky. But this is a good stretch for the groin. And if you can jam the ankle here into the knee, you can kind of stretch, maybe not stretch, maybe massage that fascia there. It's a little way to do it. It helps stretch that right in the ankle. And like I said, you can hit the groin too. So I like this is a good stretch. Just do it like that. But yeah, that's that session. I do want kettlebells today as well. I don't put a lot of stock in this type of training in terms of burning off calories. I don't do it for that. Not on my workouts. The only time I'm looking at a calorie count for a session is if I'm on a treadmill. Just because, like, what else is the point of walking or running? I'm not even running on the treadmill. It hurts my feet too bad most of the time. I'll do the hill sprints, but sustained running longer than 2 to 3 minutes, not really. Running without a running goal, I think, is pointless. If you just want to burn calories, just walk. It's lower impact. Put the incline up and walk at your normal walking pace, maybe a little bit above. For me, my normal pace is about 4.2 miles per hour, even uphill. If it's level, I can go about 4.6. I got longer legs, so I tend to walk faster than most people. But like, if you're someone who just walks real slow, just go on a treadmill, if all you want to do is burn calories. Running should be for athletic goals. Sprinting should have some athletic purpose in mind. Otherwise, it's very high impact, and you shouldn't probably do it if you don't have a specific goal in mind for sprinting. Yes, if you can sprint, you will be fitter and more likely healthier than someone who doesn't sprint. But how much healthier? Like, is it worth the potential for injury? I don't think it is. So yeah, running and sprinting, in my opinion, should be for people with athletic goals. You want to run so you can improve your mile time or whatever, or you have a goal like you're training for a marathon or something, or a half marathon or a 5K, whatever. And then sprinting, someone with athletic purposes. But if you're new, especially if you're new, don't sprint, don't run. If you want to burn calories, just walk in an incline. Ankle tightness too, for sure, is a problem. The kettlebell work today is probably just going to be jerks. Probably single belt jerk. Again, unilateral work. I spent the past 4 weeks or so. Really, it's been 5 weeks because I've been following the program 4 weeks. I had a week before that where I went to the gym and just kind of did my old routine. So the 5 weeks has been pretty. It's been barbell focused. So the unilateral work of the kettlebell that the kettlebell can provide would probably be beneficial here. Oof. If you train kettlebells and you don't do much other high intensity shit, I would suggest doing something like this, burpee focused bodyweight stuff, because it's a different stimulus. Like I said, the 25 minutes, I worked pretty much straight through the 25 minutes. I was doing 10 reps on a minute with snatch. There's only about 10 to 15 seconds at the end of that minute for that 20 reps a minute that I do with the snatches. And then I was throwing in jerk. And I do believe I got some clean and jerk. So basically it was 25 minutes of straight work, more or less. So that I hit about 500 reps. It would have been 500. I did 1 or 2 sets with doubles. So it was either 480 or 490. But I essentially I would have hit 500 reps in 25 minutes. So that was a rep PR goal for me. But the burpees did give me a bit of a challenge because it's just a different stimulus. But those later sets, like I said, got a little easier. I unstiffened a little bit. So it's good training to throw in once in a while. I don't think I'm built for the barbell work. I think I just have to accept that this is probably it in terms of the size that I can get without like being in constant pain. I don't want to be one of those big dudes I see at the gym who've got like a big gut and they can barely walk, but like they're really strong at bench press. Like the dude benches almost 3 plates, like for reps all the way down and up. And then when he does his pull downs, he uses the whole stack, which he puts a lot of sway on it, but like I can almost do pull downs with the whole stack. I think the most I do is like 170. The stack at the gym goes to 220. But I mean, it is single pulley. I don't know if that makes it harder. I heard somebody say that single pulley is harder than double pulley. I don't know. I don't really care. I just like the pull down because the way I do them, I use the close grip one. I come down, I hold it, and then I slowly go back up and really stretch everything out. It burns like a motherfucker. That's how I hit the lats up top. If I continue the gym, it's going to be for bodybuilding shit, honestly. It burns. And I probably just do pull downs and some bench press with the dumbbells because that burns really good. And then maybe arm work. So like a bro split style. I think the power, this is what I should say, not the barbell, not the gym. The powerlifting strength goals, I think, have to go. I am not willing to really go beyond this weight at 220. And I know you can get really, really strong at 220. But I'm not willing to endure the kind of pain and stiffness that I get just doing squats and deadlifts. I don't like that. That's that more so than the weight gain. If I could be still mobile, maintain mobility, and not have chronic pain throughout the hips and the knees and the low back, and I was walking around at like 260, kind of fat, like like 20, 25, 30% body fat, but I could get really fucking strong, I might do that. But I can't make that trade-off, so I'm not doing that. The other thing, kettlebell pressing, way better than dumbbell and barbell pressing, honestly. It just flows nicer with your body. It's the way the weight's centered, it's off the side, and it's way more comfortable to press with a kettlebell than it is with a dumbbell or certainly a barbell. Like when I do pressing in the gym, the rare times I do it, I'm using the trap bar, because you kind of pull that in like a clean, and then you hoist it up, and then the weights sit off to the side. So like a dumbbell, the weights are directly in your hand, and they're like over top of the center. With the trap bar, due to the way it's built, the weight's kind of off to the side. So you're holding the trap bar like this, the horns are out here, and then the weight sits there. So it's not quite like a kettlebell, but it's closer to a kettlebell than a dumbbell is. And a dumbbell is closer to a kettlebell than a barbell is. So I really like the trap bar press. It's the only kind of vertical press I like with that isn't with a kettlebell, is the trap bar. And then with the chest, if you keep your scapula retracted and everything, and you just press like this, and your arms aren't rolling forward like this, that's actually pretty comfortable. That doesn't bother anything. It's just overhead that the barbell sucks, in my opinion. If you bench press correctly, that's not bad. I'm rambling now.